Just a couple of minutes ago, having a brief little casual discussion about praise and blame, and just sort of reflecting on how our emotions are ruled a lot by those two opposites. One set of the worldly winds, as they are called, and just to watch our minds around those influences of when we're offered praise, when we're offered criticism, to see what happens inside of us. That how sweet it is when somebody comes up to us and says, "Oh, wow, you really did a nice job. That's really great. That's the best I've ever seen. Thank you very much." And the kind of glow that comes up of a sense of well-being, and that person really knows what they're talking about. And then, the opposite that occurs when somebody comes up and says, I think you missed the mark on that one, or, gosh, I don't really like what you did. Can you redo it or do something different? And that kind of sense of feeling criticized and either blaming oneself, like I'm so stupid, or I really should have done this differently, or kind of they're wrong, they don't know what they're talking about, and the kind of the feeling of heat, either mild or strong, that might arise when somebody offers that criticism. So just to watch the ebbs and flows of that. Ajahn was making the comment, which I agree with, that the being in the roles of coabits really increases one's ability to practice with these kinds of things, because we have to make a lot of decisions that we didn't have to use to make, and usually it results in somebody being happy and somebody else being unhappy, and kind of having to negotiate the waters of that and trying to just be as balanced and fair as one can in a community of 20, 30 people who all have different needs, values, wishes, things that need to be done, things that want to be done, and trying to kind of weigh all the factors to keep some sort of semblance of balance, and how to just start, both of us feel, I think, starting to develop our muscle around praise and blame a little bit more. I remember when I used to be the controller of the heat and the cooling in this room, opening windows or turning on the cooler, turning on the heat, or jacking up the temperature, whatever, how I figured that if everybody was unhappy, then I was probably doing my job correctly. Some people too hot, some people too cold. But yeah, just to remember that and watch how we go through the day seeking praise, avoiding criticism, and to maybe start reflecting on how to attain some balance with that, so that we're not caught constantly in that ping pong effect. I asked Ajahn once how he dealt with people criticizing him or offering him all sorts of negative comments, and his comment was, well, you just have to learn to prepare to be misunderstood, kind of the operating paradigm. And then once I saw Ajahn Pasano being kind of repetitively criticized quite harshly along one line of some decision making or thing that he had to take a stand on. And he was holding it pretty calmly, and I asked him, I said, how can you do that day after day? What is it that, how have you learned to do that? And he said, well, it's just, years of being repetitively bashed just makes you kind of, more equanimous. It just gets pounded into you. So patient endurance, I think, is one of the things too. But just to remember, one of my favorite lines from the Dhammapada is something along, this is paraphrase, but something along the lines of some people speak too much, or some people speak a lot and they are criticized. Some people speak just a little bit and they are criticized. And some people speak just the right amount and they are criticized. Everybody is criticized. So I'll leave it for that.